First of all, I want to thank Brad, Don, Kayla, Rose, and the rest of the crew that made this event possible, Made in America in Indianapolis. A round of applause for them, please. And also, I know it's been a long day, but I would like to give thanks to all the people that have made it possible for us to host this event in English. If you have served in the United States military, in the Air Force, please stand up. In the Coast Guard. All right. In the Navy. In the Marine Corps. And in the Army. Thank you very much for serving. These men and women have made this event possible. Thank you so much for serving. And for the Army guys here, I will speak slowly, in small words, to make sure you understand. No, I'm just kidding. For those of you that have not served, the services have an inter-service rivalry like siblings, but when we're together, nothing comes between us. Zach, where are you? He was out here earlier. But that's one of the things that we say, one team, one fight. And I want to share with you our story and why we do what we do now. My name's Hernán Luis y Prado, or as my drill sergeant called me, that damn foreigner. But I'm an American citizen. I love the U.S. I came to the U.S. because I wanted to serve the only nation in the history of humanity that consistently wanted to uphold the ideals of a constitution, not uphold a bloodline, not uphold a family. It was always to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And it was the only organization in the history of humanity that has never systematically engaged in rape, plunder, or genocide. Think about that. And the men and women that you just saw earlier, they upheld that Constitution. So thank you again. I really appreciate that. So like I said, I am Hernán Luis y Prado. I'm a 3-time combat veteran, done tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I love the Navy. I served 15 years. I loved it. Go Navy, all right. But I left because I was tired of seeing more friends dying of drugs and alcohol in San Diego than bombs and bullets in Baghdad. And for those of you that know, there are over 22 veterans a day that take their own lives. And we can stop that. But for me, it was a very personal story because I kept thinking, I have to do something, but I didn't know how. How many people here own their own companies? How many of you are able to find qualified employees to work for you? Raise your hands, please. I see a lot less hands now. America loves her veterans. But what American manufacturers need are qualified machinists, welders, fabricators, machine tool operators, people that can show up on time, day after day, drug-free, be dependable, and communicate well, right? So Workshops for Warriors is at this perfect storm where we gather this perfect pool of talent that have served their nation honorably. We provide compressed, nationally recognized training in machining, welding, fabrication, and then we place them in careers throughout America at no cost to them. Since 2008, 95% of all of our graduates are placed and retained in full-time jobs. Oh, thank you. And you think, what's the problem? The problem is there are over 550 people on the waiting list for each one of the 3 classes that we offer every semester. And there are 2,500 open jobs for every one of our graduates. But we only have enough funding to support 160 every semester. And this is where Americans need to kick it in themselves, not the school, not their politician, not their government. We are our government. We are America. And I'm asking you, as one American that has served to another that can still serve, how do you help our school grow? Because it's not a question of going to another state. It's not a question of starting another facility. We're in the midst of a $100 million expansion to expand our current facility from 60,000 square feet to 180,000 square feet so that we can produce 4,000 graduates per year. And you say, 4,000? America has 7 million unfilled jobs. How can that make a dent? Does anyone here know what a Navy SEAL is? So when you go overseas, you train people to train other people to kill other people. And I thought, if we're here in the U.S., why can't we do that? Why can't I train the men and women that I served with to train other people to help rebuild our nation? Why? And since 2008, we've proven that we can. The Secretary of the U.S. Navy called us the SEAL team of manufacturing, and I need your help to help this fire grow throughout America. Who here is with me? So what I need from you is I need to find some champions. I need someone to have some stones and stand up right now and say, I will be an ambassador for your cause. I believe that 84% of all of your monies goes straight to training veterans. I believe that the people that you place right now in my company were people that went into harm's way, and now they're here to serve my company. I need those people to stand up and say, I will do my part. Who will those people be? Please stand. Thank you very much. Thank you. My wife, Rachel, if you could stand for just one moment. My wife is the reason why Workshops is where it is. Because I told her, I need to devote 5 years of my life to do this, and I needed my sugar mama. Thank you. To take care of the family. Thank you, sweetheart. Think about that. I had just come back from Iraq, and my wife had seen what was going on. And she agreed to give up her car. We were two dinks, if you don't know what a dink is, dual income, no kids. And my amazing wife agreed to give up her car, our house, our apartment, everything that we had, so that the people that I served with, that most of whom she didn't even know, but so that those people could have a future. And it doesn't sound like anything tangible, but every day we're in the grind, and Brad was telling me behind scenes how he's in the grind right now. But there was this kid called Josh Ferguson, who was a 17-year Navy sailor. And one day, about 3 years ago, we were having a staff meeting because the previous night, at around midnight, my wife had turned to me and said, hey. So I said, hey. Then she tapped me again on the shoulder and she said, hey. I said, what? She said, you need to come up with $50,000 tomorrow or you don't make payroll. Which was not the conversation I thought we'd be having at midnight. But the whole rest of the night, who here owns their own business again? Who's had a payroll issue, right? Here we were running a school to rebuild America, and we were trying to figure out how to make payroll for employees that every company in America needed. So the next day, I got my whole team together. I started calling some of my donors and saying, look, we need your help. We need to do something because we have over $13 million worth of new equipment in our facility to train veterans on the newest technologies in the world. We train them in advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, computer-aided design. Scotchman, where are you? That woman right there, Brooke Formanek, and her father, Jerry Crutch, are true patriots. Get up, Brooke. Thank you. Not only are they true Americans, they donate, but this is a guy that helps constantly. Jerry and his family support their town in South Dakota, and they support our little school in San Diego since the first day that I asked them. And I want to thank you and your father and your family, Brooke. Thank you. So we're in this conference room. We're all looking at each other, and I tell my staff, listen, in the Navy we say, bad news is like wine. It does not age well. So tell people early. And I got my team together, and I said, we have money to pay you this payroll, but I won't have any money to pay you next payroll. We'll probably figure it out in a month or two, but I just want to let you know now. And we were really like right in the midst of this moment where I said, not going to pay you now. And we get a knock on the door. So he turned towards the door, and this guy opens it. He says, do you have a minute? And again, big room, lots of people. And he says, if it weren't for you, I would have committed suicide. And you could have heard a pin drop. And I said, come on in, Josh, sit down. And I excused everyone but my wife, and I said, what happened? And he said, I've been in the Navy for 17 years, did combat tours in Iraq, and when I came back, I was so changed. I was such a different person. I wasn't the same father I was when I left. I wasn't the same husband I was when I left. And I've literally stayed in my room for almost a year. He was on over 20 different medications to treat PTS, depression, anxiety, and he just couldn't get out of his room. And this is a grown man, a competent sailor, a combat veteran, and he just couldn't do it. And he said, after I went through your program, I stopped taking drugs, but most importantly, I got a job in Texas. I'm living with my family. I'm providing a roof over their heads, and for the first time, I can look at my wife across the dinner table and say, I'm the man of the house again. And that's thanks to that woman right there and Brooke next to her, because of an American that decided to step up and do something. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Our school, Workshops for Warriors, it's not a very big school. But if you think about it, there are over 45,000 veteran service organizations in the U.S. 45,000. 2% of those schools have revenues of over $1 million. 17% of that 2% have full-time staff and their own facilities. We own almost 3/4 of a city block so that we can use that as a launching pad to build the largest advanced manufacturing school in the world, specifically for veterans and wounded warriors. We're fortunate that I have Title X authority from both President Obama and President Trump to get active duty men and women up to 6 months before they leave the service so that they can focus on training and what the next step of their life is. Imagine if you're 18 to 22 years old and you're in this fabric called Department of Defense. It's like a chainmail suit. We're not robots, but every single day when you're part of that chainmail suit, for those veterans who are out there, you know what I'm talking about. Every day, you know who you report to, you know who reports to you, you know what your peers demand and expect of you. And then all of a sudden, you're ripped out of this fabric and you're cast asunder. And it is such an overwhelmingly devastating experience that most people are just in free fall. I hate to put you on the spot, but veterans that have been through this, am I wrong? For those of you that have been with a veteran or someone that's transitioning out, there is such a better way. Veterans are used to getting compressed training and learning to be the best in the world. They get years of training to become the best fighting force the world has ever seen, and 5 days to become a civilian. So imagine if we get this pool of talent and we train them in the right way, a way that can serve America again with nationally recognized credentials, then help place them. The only complaint I have ever had about one of our graduates is, why can't we have 10 more just like them? And the answer is easy: funding. That's all it takes. Who here is willing to do something and stand up? It cost us $25,000 to put each student through our class. And at the end of 4 months, they make an average of $60,000 a year. If you're a business person, tell me that's not a bet you would take. You put in $25K, you get out $60K. But we don't charge for our graduates. They don't pay us a dime. And we keep growing and growing and buying more land so we can build a proper place that will give us efficiencies of scale. I need your help. That lady that was back there, I would love your help. If there are other people that want to be ambassadors for our school, I welcome you. Come to visit our school. The number one reaction we get is, I had no idea you were so big. The second one was, there are so many people. I had no idea you were training people every day. This is not a hobby level activity. Workshops for Warriors 1, #1 welding school in the nation. #1 welding instructor in the nation. The first time that the American Welding Society ever had one school win 2 awards. I was just telling one of Don's kids in the back, Jediah, we trained the youngest certified welder in America at 15 years old at our school. We trained the youngest certified computer-aided designer at our school at 16 years old, because we have every one of our students trained on the best technology, software, and equipment that America can offer, because we truly are what America can do when Americans get together. I will be right back there with Rachel and Brooke if anybody has any questions afterwards, because this is one of the way forwards, and I would love for you to join me. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you.